Hi, Bittu. Good afternoon, and thanks for taking time to on this podcast for Career Compass.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me, Anand. It's a great pleasure to share this screen for now with you.
Welcome once again. So, you recently told me that you have been promoted from a business intelligence lead to a product owner. How was your
Yes.
experience?
Uh, so I have been in the business intelligence lead role for quite a while now. I work for an international bank. I have been in this industry for almost 13 plus years now. And I was looking for a change. I wanted to specifically get into a product role. The reason being is there were a lot of roles and responsibilities in my business intelligence lead role, which were in line with what a product owner or what a product manager does specifically in their day-to-day job. So just to get that shift from BI lead to a product role, I applied for few of the roles internally, and luckily I got through. So I'll be starting from Monday.
Wow, congratulations for your new role.
Thank you so much. I did
So,
my PSPO certification so that I get some idea what uh, product role encompasses, and it kind of really helped me.
no, good to hear that. So, you mentioned that it was within the organization, but I'm
That
sure that in an interview process, right? A rigorous
yes,
interview process, in fact.
yes.
Do you want to share about that?
Sure. So I had 5 rounds of interviews.
Wow.
The first round was very informal, wherein I tried to understand what the role is all about, or what is it that the hiring manager is looking at. So if I even discount or skip that, I had 4 proper rounds to go through to get selected for this interview. And trust me, I had a very interesting experience. The reason being is there were a lot of interesting questions which were being asked, which typically are not being asked in a product role. It's more to do with how good you are in terms of your theory when it comes to a product role. Like they might ask you, what do you do in your PBRs, or what is the churn rate which is acceptable, or how many people do attend these calls? Do you have epic debriefing call, and so on and so forth. So these are the typical questions which generally they ask, but this was not the case with me.
Hmm. Yeah, those are the general questions we ask, right?
Yeah.
About agile. So,
Yes.
if it's okay, you may want to share some of the questions.
Absolutely. I would love that. And I was so excited to come walk out of my interview room and share the questions with the other folks on the floor who belong to the same space or the same community. So, the very first question which was asked to me was, how do you influence? So, when you work with different stakeholders, you have a tech team, you have a product team, you have different priority items for each one of these. How do you influence different stakeholders? This was the first question which was asked to me. And I just want to take 30 seconds to explain what did I answer, because my answer
I'm
was
also
different
curious to hear.
from, yeah. So I said, generally when there's a product which is being asked for me to deliver. So say, for instance, you as a stakeholder, you ask me to create A for an apple. When I deliver it to you, I make sure that I also create A for an aeroplane and A for an aircraft for you, or A for an alligator for you. And when I showcase it, I'll showcase it you all the three, so that you can pick and choose the elements which you feel would be benefited for you. And you can, maybe, put all the elements in A for an apple and then deliver it to your customers. So this was my answer.
Wow. It's a very out of the box thinking.
Yeah. Because generally I have seen that if I have to influence, there's something which is in front of your eyes, it makes more sense for you to get influence rather than if I just talk about it.
Yeah, I was also thinking because the reason why this interview would have asked this question, because generally customers don't know what they want.
Correct.
When you show them, then they actually think about it.
Yes, true.
So when you give them different options, now they can actually connect
Yeah,
what is are they thinking to what they are seeing.
absolutely.
Very powerful question.
uh,
Any
there
other
was
question?
There
Mhm.
was another interesting question which was asked to me in the same round. They told me to talk about an application, a mobile application which you use daily. And what is it that one thing which you would want to change in it? So you understand that there's something which I've been using daily. I'm not getting rid of it. but I want some improvements to be part of that application. So to be honest, I took 30 seconds to try and analyze what that app is or what that app should be. I don't know why Google Maps is something which got stuck in my mind. And I know that there's a limitation in Google Maps when it comes to India. Uh, um, when we use Google Maps in India, it actually does not tell you if you have to take a flyover or if it is that you have to take the route which is below the flyover.
It
It
tells you
does.
after you've gone 30 seconds, oops, you missed a flyover.
That's true. So this is the example which I used, and we have an alternate app which is built in India, which is called as Maples, Mappls.
Wow.
So that was my answer. That even though I use Google Maps daily, but this is the limitation, or this is something which I don't like when I use Google Maps, and they should try and improve there. Yeah, the
Wow.
answer could be different for different people, but yeah. This is what it is. I had one more example of a shopping app, but I thought that let's limit to Google Maps here.
Google Maps, people can relate to, at least in India, right? The challenges
Absolutely
that we go through.
true.
I might have taken a minute to think about which app and what challenges. Maybe they're
Yes,
just trying to see whether you're using a product thinking like a customer as well as like a product owner. Like
yes,
how are you empathizing with the customer?
right, right. And during my course of these interview rounds, there were two questions which were asked to me, which again were different from what they generally ask. So one was that if you have something coming up at the 11th hour, how is it that you manage your current work? So this, I understand it was more to do from a deprioritization standpoint as to how do you deprioritize some of the items in your to-do bucket list for today and you park them for tomorrow. So in the back of my mind, while I was answering this question, I was thinking about the RICE model, which is your reach, impact, your confidence, and your efforts. So, what is my reach? When I have this 11th hour work which is coming in, what is my impact? How is it going to impact a number of people if I do not do this work? How confident I am in doing that work, and how much of an effort would I take? If I'm confident, obviously I'll take less amount of time. And this was my answer to the hiring manager, that this is how I will think. I will park few of the things for the next day which are not as of important for me to do. So this was my answer. I did not call it out rice then and there, but at the back of my mind, this was going on.
Oh, that's really awesome because you're not getting into the emotional cycle that you have to do
Yes,
it because it's coming at the last moment from a senior manager.
yes,
You used your analytical mind, you applied a prioritization technique to make a
yes.
decision.
I used a prioritization technique to deprioritize my work. So yeah,
I'm sure your
that is
interviewer would
pretty.
have loved to hear that answer.
Yeah, true. And the other question which was asked to me, that if you have had any, in the hindsight, if you think that you have, made some decision and you have regretted it. So do you want to share your experience on that? It was really difficult for me to think about a decision which I have made in the past or which I have regretted. Um, but I gave a very simple answer, which we regularly face in our day to day when we go to our offices. There are a lot of programs or trainings which an organization runs. A lot of times you enroll yourself into these trainings, or say, for instance, site level programs, and there's a value which you're expecting out of it. So, say, for instance, I expect alphabets to be learned from A to Z from a learning session which I'm attending. I might come out learning only A. So at that point in time, I always think that this was kind of not my waste of time, but I could have, used or capitalized that time somewhere else. This is my general feeling when I attend site level initiatives or probably some of the trainings. And then I regret my decision that, why did I attend? But a time loss is a time loss. So this was my answer. Probably I could have given a different answer, but I could only think of this one.
In fact, there's a word for that, ROTI, return on time invested.
Right.
So you may not be getting the return on time investment, but yeah,
Yes, yes.
we may not know until we attend that course whether that's going to really give us the roti or not.
Correct. And there's one thing which I always keep in my mind, that there's always something to learn. Even if, there's a mishap which has happened, there's a failure which has happened, there's always something to learn from that. So I learned A out of A to Z, but yes, I think I could have invested my time in something wherein I would at least learn A, B, and C together. So yeah, that was my answer, but I generally do not regret any of my decisions which I make.
Ah. How was the overall experience like in these kind of interviews? So
Uh,
like,
I was a little anxious and nervous in the very beginning when I was moving out of my comfort zone, because this is a complete lift and shift from moving from a tech space to a product space. It would be totally different. But then the interviews happened, and I was really happy about getting this role. And the interviews, I thought that there would be a lot of theoretical or technical questions which they would ask, but these were all scenario based questions, and I kind of love answering such type of questions. So it was like a win-win probably for both the hiring manager and
yeah, actually it was double win for you. You got an opportunity as well as you experienced some very different kind of
right.
interview
Yes,
process.
true. There was this one last question which I just remember they were asking me, and this was like a repeated question which they asked me in all the interview rounds. Reason being is probably there were different interviewers for me. The question which they were asking me is, define one of the major failures which you might have, experienced in your day-to-day life in terms of your BAU, and how is it that you report it to the end users or to the customer, or how is it that you deal with it? So this was a typical question which was being asked me time and again. Me being part of the organization for more than 11 years now, I have always worked on the tech products which are like used within the firm. So we have our end users within the firm itself. So the impact was not that much, even if there was a failure or something. So I have never had like a major failure. And my answer to the hiring manager was always that, I have never had such an experience, but I don't want to curate something now for you just so that, I get into your good books. But I will tell you like a similar story wherein we have always had defects creeping in to the production. And how is it that you deal with the end users, that you be very transparent with them, you keep them posted, you keep them updated. What is the RCA? This is what are we expecting to be fixed, this is the timeline, is this is when it is going to get delivered to you. And even if like I know that I'm going to take 3 days for me to be able to fix that issue for you, but I'll make sure that for all the 3 days you receive an email from me that this is where we are, so that you understand that we are looking at it very closely, we are monitoring it, and we understand the impact even if they are like the internal users.
Maybe in this question, they just check your integrity, your transparency, your communication, right?
Right, probably. I think so because they knew the background I was coming in from. I have always worked on the internal projects, so
So you
possibly
can't even fake it, right? They'll figure it out.
true.
So that's where the integrity part was coming into picture.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Bittu, I see this is a trend, or if this is not already, this may become a trend of asking such real-time questions.
Yes.
What suggestions will you give to people to prepare such kind of questions?
All of the answers which I gave was probably listening to some podcast, how is it that you gain something out of it? This is my general trend, or there's a something which I mean, there's a lot of things which you learn from the movies as well. If you look at some inspirational movies, and if you like something, probably it gets registered in my mind. So maybe, if you like some story, probably remember it so that you can use it in your interview for the next time.
I do a lot. Bollywood movies.
Yes.
Any specific podcast or journal or blogs you would recommend?
So I'm not much into podcast. I would say I just want to candidly say that over here. But there are a lot of inspirational reels. I'm into Instagram a lot. I look at a lot of inspirational reels there. And television, I'm a great sucker for television. I think they're not able to make that much of content which I'm consuming. So yeah, I learn a lot from there, like small little stories. What is it that you need to do, or the terms which you use, all of that. I was never even good at English speaking. There's a lot which I have learned from looking at watching the movies with these captions on. So
I can relate to that journey.
yeah.
So, your journey does not stop here, right? Certainly, it will be going next. So, what are you looking at next from where you are right now?
um where I am right now, I always wanted to grow in the product space. The reason being is there are a lot of my mentors or coaches, they have mentioned that this is a space, or these are the traits where you need to, capitalize yourself, and product is a space where you need to grow with it. So what if I have to tell you that where do I look at myself in, say, probably 3 years down the line, I want to grow the ladder within my organization and maybe become. So I have been hired as a product manager for now. I may want to become a product owner, say, for instance, 3 years down the line, wherein I want to have the entire vision of the vision and scope of the entire product. So, yeah.
And how are you going to plan that journey? Or have you already planned that journey?
Um, Yeah, I'll take one step at a time. I am looking forward to learn a lot because this is a new space. This is a new project. Even from a business standpoint, this is something new for me to learn. I'll take small little baby steps and try and get there. But one thing I can assure you is that if your business knowledge is strong, nothing can stop you from growing, because people need to understand that you are the asset to the company, not just, you follow certain things, you follow the policies or some steps A, B, and C in the firm, and then you can get there. No, you have to be business. You have to have a business and the functional knowledge also in line with what your organization is looking at. It needs to be in line with the organization vision as well. So this is how I plan myself. At least for the next quarter, I am going to be in the learning phase, and then we'll take it up from there. But I'm sure I'm going to reach out to you for a lot of questions.
Always welcome. And rightly mentioned, asset. Having a business understanding of the company where you're working, you automatically become an asset, indispensable
True.
asset.
Yes.
And learning is a journey, it does not stop. Even if you have achieved your
Totally.
milestone, the next comes up after that.
Yes. Totally.
And I'm also equally sure that people who listen to this would also be getting a lot to learn from your experience, and they can apply it into their context.
I really hope so. And yes, in case if they want to know what exactly a product role entails into, I think they can definitely reach out to you. You should be the best mentor or the coach for them.
Oh, thank you for the kind word. Appreciate that.
I
Thanks once again for giving your time. And I'm very sure people who will be listening to it will be reaching out to you for your experience. Give them some time, help them. It's a
absolutely.
good karma.
It's a great pleasure, Anand. And I just want to call it out. It was you who helped me a lot getting through this interview process as well. I remember you sharing difficult questions, which uh, I mean, there was a list of questions which you shared on WhatsApp, I think a day or two before my interview when I reached out to you. So I really want to take a moment here to thank you for all the efforts and all the help which you have provided.
Journey was yours. I was just trying to be as helpful as I can and my capability allows.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome and have a great weekend ahead. We'll see
You
you soon.
too.